Los Angeles. The name itself conjures images. Sunshine, celebrities, and endless opportunity. We see it on movie screens. We hear it in songs. It's the land of dreams, they say. People flock here from all over the world. They come seeking fame, fortune, or just a better life. The Hollywood sign beams down on a city bustling with energy. Luxury cars cruise down Rodeo Drive, mansions dot the hillsides overlooking the sparkling Pacific. This is the LA everyone knows, or thinks they know. But there's another Los Angeles. It's one that doesn't make the tourist brochures. It's a city of shadows, tucked away in plain sight. You see it under freeway overpasses. You find it along the LA River. It's in the parks where families once picnicked. Tents line sidewalks, just blocks from gleaming skyscrapers. This is the reality for tens of thousands of Angelinos. They are our neighbors, living without a roof over their heads. This is the LA we can no longer ignore. The contrast is jarring, almost unbelievable. How can so much wealth exist alongside such profound poverty? One minute you're driving past a film shoot, the next, you're navigating a street crowded with makeshift shelters. It's a tale of two cities, truly. One city basks in the global spotlight, a beacon of aspiration. The other struggles silently, often invisibly in the margins. This hidden crisis is a stain on the glitter. It's a challenge to the very soul of Los Angeles. This isn't a new problem, of course, but it feels different now. Bigger, more desperate. The sheer number of people without homes is staggering. It has grown beyond a containable issue. It has become a humanitarian crisis unfolding on our streets. The city of dreams is, for too many, a place of broken promises. It's a daily fight for survival. We have to look beyond the glamour. We must confront the uncomfortable truth. Let's talk numbers, because they paint a stark picture. As of early 2025, the figures are deeply concerning. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, or LASA, conducts a yearly count. Each year, we hold our breath, hoping for improvement. But the trend has been stubbornly upward. We're talking about tens of thousands of people. Some estimates push the number in LA County close to 70,000 individuals on any given night. Imagine the entire population of a small city, without homes. This isn't just a static group of people. There's a constant flow. People fall into homelessness. Some manage to escape it. But for many, it becomes a long-term struggle. The latest counts show an increase yet again. It's a relentless climb. Families with children are part of these numbers. Veterans who served our country are among them. Young people, old people, people of all backgrounds. The scale is immense. It's a crisis that touches every part of our community, whether we see it directly or not. Why the steady, heartbreaking increase? There's no single, simple answer. We'll get into the complex causes later. But the numbers tell us that whatever we've been doing, it hasn't been enough. It hasn't kept pace with the forces pushing people onto the streets. Each number represents a human being, a person with a story, with hopes, with fears. It's easy to get lost in statistics, but we must remember the humanity behind each digit. These are not just data points. The official counts themselves are a massive undertaking. Volunteers spread out across the county, they try to get an accurate snapshot. But even these efforts likely underestimate the true scope. How do you count everyone who is hidden? People sleeping in cars or couch surfing with friends? The problem is probably even bigger than these alarming figures suggest. This isn't about pointing fingers, it's about understanding the magnitude. We need to grasp how big this challenge truly is. When people think of homelessness in Los Angeles, one name often comes to mind: Skid Row. This area, sprawling over some 50 blocks downtown, is the historic epicenter. It's a concentration of poverty and despair unlike almost anywhere else in the United States. For decades, it has been a place where those with nowhere else to go end up. Thousands live here, many in tents that line the sidewalks. The conditions are often shocking. The smell can be overwhelming. Daily life on Skid Row is a relentless battle for basic necessities. Where do you find a clean bathroom? How do you get a shower? Where is your next meal coming from? These are constant anxieties. Access to clean water is a luxury. Safety is a major concern, especially at night. People fashion shelters from tarps, cardboard, and discarded items. They try to create a small zone of personal space, but privacy is non-existent. The threat of theft or violence is ever present. Despite the grim conditions, there's also a sense of community here, born of shared hardship. People look out for each other. They share resources when they can. Non-profit organizations and missions operate in Skid Row. They provide food, some shelter beds, and other services. But the need far outstrips the supply. For every person who gets a temporary bed, many more sleep outside. The sheer density of people living in such conditions creates immense public health challenges. But Skid Row is not the only place. Encampments have spread far beyond downtown. You see them in Venice near the beach. They are in Hollywood, ironically close to the Walk of Fame. They're in the San Fernando Valley, in Echo Park, along riverbeds. The crisis is decentralized now. It's visible in nearly every neighborhood. This means the challenges of Skid Row, the search for sanitation, safety, and sustenance, are being replicated across the city, on a smaller but equally desperate scale for those involved. So, what's driving this explosion of homelessness in Los Angeles? It's a perfect storm of factors, really. The most obvious culprit is the staggering cost of housing. Rents have skyrocketed, home prices are out of reach for ordinary working people. LA is one of the most expensive places to live in the country. When you're paying 50, 60, or even 70% of your income on rent, one missed paycheck, one medical bill, can send you over the edge. There's simply no safety net. Then there's the issue of wages. While housing costs have soared, wages for many low-income workers have stagnated. The minimum wage has gone up, but it hasn't kept pace with the cost of living. Think about a fast food worker, a home care aide, or a retail clerk. Even working full-time or more than full-time, it's incredibly difficult to afford an apartment here. The gap between what people earn and what it costs to live is a chasm. This economic precarity is a huge driver. We also have to talk about the lack of affordable housing units. For decades, the city and state haven't built enough housing, especially for those with lower incomes. There's a massive shortage. When supply is low and demand is high, prices go up. It's basic economics. Efforts to build more affordable housing are often met with NIMBYism, not in my backyard sentiment. This resistance slows down or blocks crucial projects. We need more housing of all types urgently. Finally, other factors compound the problem. Lack of access to adequate mental health care and addiction treatment plays a significant role for a portion of the unhoused population. For refugees and immigrants, navigating a new country with limited resources, language barriers, and often trauma can lead to housing instability. Many arrive with hope but face immense hurdles. Each of these issues, poverty, housing costs, stagnant wages, healthcare gaps, and newcomer struggles, intertwines to create this crisis. Behind the statistics and policy debates are real people. People with names, histories, and dreams. I've met many of them over the years. Take Maria, for example. She lost her apartment after her hours were cut at her cleaning job. She and her 2 children lived in their car for months. She told me about the fear of someone knocking on the window at night, but also about her determination to keep her kids in school. She never gave up hope of finding a new place. Then there's John, a veteran who struggled with PTSD after returning from service. He found himself on the streets, battling demons most of us can't imagine. He spoke of the loneliness, the feeling of being invisible, but he also found camaraderie with other vets in a similar situation. He eventually connected with a support group. He shared how small acts of kindness from strangers, a bottle of water or a kind word, made a huge difference in his darkest days. His resilience was remarkable. Many unhoused individuals I've spoken to display incredible resourcefulness. They find ways to stay clean, to charge their phones, to find food. They navigate complex systems of aid, often facing bureaucracy and long waits. There's a woman named Sarah who sets up a small library with discarded books on her street corner in Venice. She says it's her way of offering something back, of maintaining a sense of purpose and connection. It's these glimmers of humanity that often get overlooked. These stories are not just tales of hardship. They are also stories of incredible strength and spirit. People hold on to their dignity in the most trying circumstances. They form communities. They help each other. They dream of a better future. It's important to remember this, to see the person, not just the homeless label. Their resilience is a testament to the human will to survive, and even to find moments of joy amidst unimaginable challenges. We owe them more than just a passing glance. The crisis of homelessness doesn't exist in a vacuum. It affects everyone in Los Angeles, not just those without a roof. Think about our healthcare system. Emergency rooms often become the primary care providers for unhoused individuals. This is expensive and inefficient. Preventable conditions worsen on the streets, and contagious diseases can spread more easily. The strain on hospitals and clinics is immense. Paramedics and first responders are constantly dealing with calls related to people living on the streets. Public safety is another major concern. For those living in encampments, there's the constant risk of violence, theft, and exploitation. For housed residents, there can be fears about crime and disorder associated with nearby encampments. Business owners report challenges too. The presence of large encampments can impact public spaces, parks, and sidewalks, and this creates tension and division within communities. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but the safety concerns are real for everyone. The environment also suffers. Encampments, often lacking sanitation services, can lead to pollution in waterways and public areas. Trash accumulation is a common problem, and there are concerns about fires, especially during dry seasons. The cleanup efforts required are costly and ongoing. These environmental impacts affect the quality of life for all Angelenos. They are a visible sign of a system struggling to cope with the scale of human need. And then there's the impact on our social fabric, our sense of community. The visible suffering on our streets is distressing. It can lead to compassion fatigue, frustration, and anger. It can also erode our sense of shared civic life. How do we maintain social unity when so many of our neighbors are in crisis? The problem forces us to confront difficult questions about who we are as a city. It challenges our values and our commitment to one another. The crisis is a mirror reflecting our collective response. So, what is being done? City and state leaders are certainly talking about homelessness a lot. It's a top priority, they say. Budgets have increased significantly. Billions of dollars have been allocated in recent years. We've seen a variety of initiatives. There's A Bridge Home, which aimed to create temporary shelters across the city. There's Project Roomkey, and later Project Homekey, using hotels and motels for temporary and then permanent supportive housing. These programs have helped thousands. Community organizations and nonprofits are on the front lines every single day. They run shelters, soup kitchens, and outreach programs. They provide mental health services, job training, and legal aid. These groups are often underfunded and stretched thin, but their dedication is unwavering. They are the ones building relationships, offering a lifeline to people in desperate need. Their work is absolutely crucial. Without them, the situation would be far, far worse. They are the backbone of the response. There have been some successes. More people are being housed than ever before. New permanent supportive housing units are slowly coming online. Innovative models like tiny home villages are being explored. But the reality is, people are falling into homelessness faster than we can house them. For every person who gets off the street, it feels like two more take their place. The scale of the problem often overwhelms the resources and systems in place. It's a constant game of catch-up. The political will seems to be there, at least in rhetoric. But translating that will into effective, widespread solutions is incredibly challenging. Bureaucracy can be slow, funding can get tied up. Different agencies and levels of government don't always coordinate perfectly. There's a sense of exhaustion among many service providers and even some officials. They are working incredibly hard, but the crisis persists. It's clear that current efforts, while significant, are not yet enough to turn the tide. One of the most visible and controversial tactics used in Los Angeles is the encampment sweep. Officially, these are called cleanups or efforts to ensure public right-of-way. The city regularly sends crews to dismantle homeless encampments. People are ordered to move their tents and belongings. Often, possessions are confiscated and discarded. The stated goals are usually public health and safety and restoring access to public spaces. These operations are a frequent sight in many neighborhoods now. The effectiveness and humanity of these sweeps are hotly debated. Supporters argue they are necessary. They say encampments can be unsanitary and unsafe. They believe sweeps are needed to maintain order and cleanliness. Some business owners and residents demand them. They feel it's the city's duty to keep sidewalks clear. For them, sweeps are a sign that the city is taking action. It's a way to address the immediate, visible aspects of the crisis. However, critics argue that sweeps are cruel and counterproductive. They say sweeps traumatize people who have already lost everything. They scatter individuals, making it harder for outreach workers to connect them with services. People lose vital possessions like medication, identification, and shelter. Often there aren't enough shelter beds offered as an alternative, so people just move down the block or to another neighborhood. The problem isn't solved, it's just displaced. The core issue is that sweeps don't address the root causes of homelessness. They don't create more affordable housing. They don't increase access to mental health care or addiction treatment. They are a temporary, surface-level response to a deep systemic problem. While keeping public spaces safe and accessible is important, many argue that the current approach prioritizes appearances over genuine solutions. It can feel like we're just moving people around, sweeping the problem out of sight rather than truly helping them. This approach often feels more punitive than helpful. So where do we go from here? The crisis of homelessness in Los Angeles can feel overwhelming. It's easy to feel hopeless or cynical, but we can't afford to give up. This is a human crisis and it demands a humane response. We need more than just temporary fixes. We need real, long-term solutions. And that starts with a fundamental shift in approach. We need to prioritize getting people into permanent housing. This is often called a housing-first model. Housing first recognizes that people need stability before they can effectively address other issues like health problems or unemployment. Provide a safe, stable home, and then wrap services around that individual. It's proven to be more effective and ultimately more cost-efficient than managing homelessness on the streets. This means building much more permanent supportive housing. It means protecting tenants from eviction. It means ensuring that people have the support they need to stay housed. It's a big investment, but the cost of inaction is far greater. But government action alone isn't enough. This crisis requires a whole-of-community response. Businesses, nonprofits, faith communities, and individual Angelenos all have a role to play. We need more empathy and less judgment. We need to see the humanity in every person, regardless of their circumstances. We need to challenge NIMBYism and support efforts to build affordable housing in all neighborhoods. We need to volunteer our time, donate to effective organizations, and advocate for better policies. This is a call to action. Let's not turn away from this crisis. Let's engage with it. Let's educate ourselves and others. Let's demand more from our leaders, but also from ourselves. Los Angeles is a city of immense creativity, wealth, and resilience. If any city can tackle a challenge this big, it's LA. It won't be easy and it won't happen overnight. But with sustained commitment, compassion, and collaboration, we can create a city where everyone has a place to call home. Let's start the conversation, share ideas, and work together for a more just and humane Los Angeles.